Becky Lynch shocks WWE veteran with her performance on Raw this week. She was selling all over the place. Vince Russo, who used to be the chief writer for WWE, thought Becky Lynch did a great job on Raw. This week on the Red brand, the Women's Intercontinental Champion was in action. The man defended the Women's IC title against Maxine Dupri on Monday night. During the title match, Akira Tozawa and Natalya were there to assist the challenger. Becky showed that she was just too experienced for Dupri, even if Dupri attacked her. Lynch turned a roll-up pin into the disarm her and tapped out her opponent to win. This week on Sportskeeda's Legion of Raw, Vince Russo praised Becky for her performance in the ring against Maxine, who is still new to the sport. He said that Lynch did her best to make the Alpha Academy member look like a real threat, just like a real pro would. The experienced writer thought that the man did a good job of selling Dupri's offense throughout the bout, making it look like a really hard-fought match on Raw. And I want to say this. I have to say this about that match. Becky worked really hard to sell Maxine Dupri, which was cool. I have to say that. She was selling all over the place, Russo said. After the match, Becky Lynch yelled at Maxine Dupri, who had fallen in the ring. Natalya rushed in to break up the fight, but Lynch lost her cool and attacked her too. This happened right after last week's episode of Raw, when Lynch and Nikki Bella had a fight, which hinted at a future match between the two stars. It will be fun to see who tries to beat Becky Lynch next in the Women's Intercontinental Championship. But the lights in the NXT arena went down, and the crowd buzzed with excitement that felt almost electric. On July 25, 2023, it wasn't just another night for the Black and Gold brand. It was the night when two powerful warriors would face off in a bout that promised brutality, beauty, and raw emotion. The arena was first filled with the haunting, Celtic-inspired theme of Lyra Valkyria. She came out of a cloud of smoke, her eyes fixed on the ring, and every move she made was deliberate. She was the embodiment of a warrior spirit, focused, unshaken, and determined to make her mark against one of WWE's most powerful forces. Fans went wild, knowing that Lyra was stepping into uncharted territory against an opponent who had crushed almost everyone in her path. Then, without warning, the arena exploded into chaos as exclamation point roared through the speakers. The crowd erupted in a mix of cheers and gasps of fear as Rhea Ripley walked to the ring in her black leather gear, her piercing eyes locked on Lyra. Every step dripped with confidence, and every movement reminded everyone that she wasn't just a competitor, she was the Eradicator. The bell rung. Rhea used her strength advantage from the start, easily pushing Lyra back into the corner. She smirked, almost as if she were taunting Lyra to bring more. But Lyra's fighting spirit lit a fire in the arena. She ducked a clothesline, hit Rhea's knee with a lightning-quick dropkick, and then followed it up with a sharp spinning heel kick. Rhea stumbled but didn't fall, glaring at Lyra as if to say, "You're going to regret that." For the next few minutes, the match was a battle between strength and speed. Rhea caught Lyra in the air while she was trying to cross-body and slammed her to the mat with a devastating fall-away slam. Then she used ground-and-pound defense to grind her forearm across Lyra's face, letting the crowd know she was there to win. But Lyra wouldn't give up. She kicked Rhea's ribs hard and used the ropes to spring into a tornado DDT that finally brought the powerhouse down. The crowd stood up and chanted LYRA. LYRA, as the Irish-born fighter climbed the turnbuckle. She jumped for a top rope splash, but Rhea caught her in the air and put her in the riptide position. Lyra somehow got free and rolled up, but Rhea broke free with a horrifying howl. Ripley hauled Lyra up in one smooth motion and hit her with a thunderous headbutt that startled the smaller challenger. Rhea trapped Lyra in the prism trap submission, and that was the end. Lyra's face showed how much anguish she was in. She fought, clawed, and tried to get away, but Rhea's grip was too strong. Lyra had no alternative but to tap out. Rhea let go of the hold, stood upright, and breathed heavily while keeping her eyes on her falling opponent. She didn't need to say anything. Her win screamed for itself. Even though Lyra lost, she gained the respect of the NXT universe by lasting as long as she did against one of WWE's most dangerous forces. The camera caught Rhea's sneer as she raised her arm, as if she were saying, "Welcome to my world. If you wish, I can also write a longer scene backstage after the match where Rhea confronts Lyra to add additional drama and tension between the two women. That would make the story even more like a movie.
But
fans from all over the world tuned in to the WWE Network for the Best of Liv Morgan full match marathon. It was a night unlike any other. The set was ready, with huge LED screens showing highlights of her most famous moments, from shocking victories to jaw-dropping high spots. The crowd chanted, "Let's go Liv." The show started with a dramatic video package, narrated in a deep, cinematic voice, about a girl from New Jersey who wouldn't give up on her dreams. It showed her early days as the scrappy rookie in NXT, when she was often overlooked but never outworked. Clips played of her early matches against heavy hitters like Asuka and Shayna Baszler, matches where she may not have won, but showed a fire that hinted at what was to come. The first full match shown was her Money in the Bank 2022 victory, a defining moment in Liv's career. Fans watched again as she scaled the ladder, her fingers barely grazing the briefcase before yanking it down and falling to the mat in disbelief. The moment she cashed in later that night against Ronda Rousey was replayed in full, the crowd reliving the explosion of joy when the referee's hand slapped the mat for the 3 count, and Liv became SmackDown Women's Champion for the first time. The second match in the marathon took viewers to WrestleMania 39, where Liv teamed with Raquel Rodriguez in a thrilling tag team battle. It was a high-energy, fast-paced showcase of Liv's resilience. She took heavy punishment, got knocked down over and over, but always got back up, smiling, taunting her opponents, and hitting them with her signature double knees. Next came a rare gem, Liv Morgan vs. Becky Lynch, Raw, 2021. This was the night Liv almost shocked the world by defeating big-time Bex for the Raw Women's Championship. Watching it back, fans appreciated just how close Liv came and how much heart she put into every kick, every counter, and every near fall. The slow-motion replay of her collapsing to her knees after the loss, tears in her eyes but fire still in her heart, reminded everyone why she was a fan favorite. Then came the crazier, less predictable parts, hardcore matches, kendo stick fights, and even videos of Liv falling off ladders in dangerous places. One of the best parts was her famous Extreme Rules match against Ronda Rousey, where she took a lot of punishment but kept smiling through the pain, as if she liked the chaos. The marathon ended with her most recent Women's World Championship match, which was a full-circle moment for Liv. She was wiser, stronger, and more confident than ever before, and she faced one of her toughest rivals. The match was a perfect example of how she had changed. The high-flying moves were still there, but now they were matched with a more calculated, cunning side. When she finally raised the championship high above her head, the fans in the arena and the millions watching at home knew they had just seen a career that was still far from over. The last lines displayed on screen as the credits rolled, "From underdog to champion to legend in the making. This is Liv Morgan." The crowd cheered one last time, and the Best of Liv Morgan marathon went down in WWE Network history as one of the most moving shows ever. But the arena was humming with excitement before the January 24, 2025 episode of SmackDown. Earlier in the week, a 6-woman tag match had been announced as the main event, and the competitors were already at each other's throats. The first team to enter was a force of pure dominance, Rhea Ripley, the Eradicator herself, leading her allies Bianca Belair and Naomi. The three shared a moment at the top of the ramp, each using confidence, Bianca twirling her braid like a whip, Naomi glowing in her vibrant gear, and Rhea's cold stare fixed on the ring, as if daring her opponents to even step inside. Then the lights went out, and Liv Morgan's music started playing. She walked out with a smug smile, flanked by the huge Nia Jax and the cunning Candice LeRae. Liv, who was carrying the SmackDown Women's Championship over her shoulder, taunted Rhea from a distance, reminding her of the unfinished business between them. The crowd gasped at Nia's size, and Candice looked like she was already planning 20 different ways to bend the game. Starts Naomi and Candice were the first to go. Candice tried to outsmart Naomi with quick holds and maneuvers that used ropes, but Naomi was too quick. She danced around Candice and nailed a springboard crossbody for an early near fall. The fans went wild when Naomi tagged in Bianca. Bianca's power game shifted the pace right away. She caught Candice in the air while she was trying to do a hurricane rana and turned it into a crushing powerbomb. Liv yelled from the apron, asking to be tagged in. Candice crawled over and slapped Liv's hand. Liv stepped in and locked eyes with Rhea across the ring. But instead of facing her rival, she smirked and turned to Bianca, trying to avoid the inevitable collision. Bianca, angry, swung with a clothesline, but Liv ducked, yanked on Bianca's braid, and drove her face first into the turnbuckle. The crowd booed loudly as Liv made fun of Bianca's signature hair twirl. The turning point Liv and her team started to separate Bianca. Nia Jax came in and knocked Bianca down with a running body splash. Every time Bianca tried to tag out, Nia would pull her back into enemy territory. Candice kept hurting Bianca with specific blows to her leg, getting her ready for her evil submission moves. Finally, Bianca turned Candice's suplex into a desperate vertical suplex of her own. She crawled to her corner, and when she tagged in Rhea Ripley, the fans went wild. Rhea rushed in like a hurricane, kicking Liv in the stomach, clotheslining Candice, and dropping Nia so hard that the irresistible force fell to the ground. The arena rocked as Rhea and Liv finally met in the middle of the ring. The clash, Rhea versus Liv. The crowd was split between shouts and boos as Rhea and Liv fought. Rhea hit Liv with a headbutt and then a vicious short-arm clothesline. She lined Liv up for the riptide, but Nia saved Liv by hitting Rhea from behind. There was a lot of confusion when all 6 women got into the ring. Naomi nailed Candice with a split-legged moonsault, Bianca speared Nia over the ropes, and Rhea was left alone with Liv again. Rhea tried the riptide again, but Liv swiped her eyes in the middle of the move and got away. She pushed Rhea into the ropes, where Nia, who was still on the apron, smacked her with a cheap forearm shot. Rhea fell back into a quick oblivion from Liv. When Liv Morgan pinned Rhea Ripley clean in the middle of the ring, the fans gasped. Liv quickly rolled out, holding up her belt and smirking at the angry Rhea. Nia and Candice cheered her on from ringside, knowing they had just made a big statement win. Rhea sat in the ring and glared at Liv while mouthing the words, "This isn't over." But the arena in Orlando was already buzzing. Fans had been chanting War Games. War Games. All night, knowing that Survivor Series was just days away. The women's division was split into 2 fierce teams, one led by Bianca Belair and the other by Bayley. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a steel chair. But no one thought that Rhea Ripley would be the one to start the fire that would burn the night down. The build-up earlier in the night, SmackDown had hinted to a face-to-face confrontation between the War Games teams. The big screen showed the graphic. Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Jade Cargill are on Team Bianca. Bayley, Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane are on Team Bayley. The crowd wanted a fight of words, but what they got was a fight of fists. Bianca branded Bayley a coward hiding behind her damage control insurance policy, while Bayley made fun of Bianca's braid and brand as just a way to sell things. Rhea Ripley's music started playing out of nowhere. The audience went wild, some cheering and some booing, but everyone was shocked. Rhea wasn't even in War Games yet. She walked to the ring with a sneer on her face, a championship belt over her shoulder, and an attitude that screamed she wasn't there to chat. Rhea took the mic. "You guys want to talk about war? You're all just playing games in your dollhouse. I'm the one who brings the destruction." Before anyone could say anything, she walked right up to Charlotte Flair and stared her down. The crowd was yelling, "This is awesome," before any punches were thrown. Then Rhea pushed Charlotte. Charlotte pushed back. And just like that, the ring turned into a mess. Shotzi tackled Asuka. Jade Cargill knocked Io Sky over the top rope, and Bayley went right for Bianca. Kairi Sane tried to pull Bayley back, but Bianca and Charlotte slammed her down in a double-team move. Rhea stepped back for a second, laughing, and then hit Jade in the head with a powerful headbutt. That was when the fight really got out of hand. Security ran down, but they couldn't stop the commotion. The brawl spread to the barriers, the timekeeper's area, and even beyond the ring. Bianca jumped from the top rope onto a group of opponents, sending everyone crashing to the floor. Rhea Ripley was the last woman standing in the ring after a few minutes of wild chaos. She held up her title and yelled into the camera, "War Games? You haven't seen anything yet." As SmackDown ended, spectators were yelling "War Games" louder than ever, even though both teams were still being pulled apart backstage. Rhea didn't simply start a brawl, she made War Games weekend into a volatile powder keg. Hi, beautiful viewers. Welcome to my channel. I'm Lima, and I hope you're having a great day. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel.